Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I update daily. If you like this watch, you can purchase it on thewatchbox.com. Buy, trade, and sell luxury watches on thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the discontinued Rolex Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona 116520 in stainless steel. As of 2016, when the ceramic bezel arrived, the metal bezel steel Daytona was an extinct species. Now a collectible, this is probably the most attractive variant, at least to my eye, with a dramatic contrast between the black of the dial and the silver sheen of the case and bracelet. The size hasn't changed. In fact, the size hasn't changed much since 1988. Rolex got the automatic Daytona right pretty much out of the gate, with detail refinements principally pertaining to movement and bracelet. You'll see the watch is still 40 millimeters across the round of the case, not including crown guard, chronograph pushers, or crown. It's relatively slim at 12.3 millimeters thick. You'll easily slide it underneath a dress cuff. It works better with tight sleeves and specialized French cuffs, for example, than the rotating bezel Rolex watches. Lug to lug, it's fairly compact, especially for a contemporary Rolex sports watch, as it's only 46.5 millimeters lug to lug. If you include the solid end links to the bracelet, you'll find it's slightly more substantial, 50.2, but it still wears well on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters in my experience. My wrist, of course, 16 centimeters in circumference for your reference. You'll note that the watch features a standard 20 millimeter lug spacing, so if you wish to accessorize with aftermarket options such as Rubber B or Everest, or even become quite daring and throw it on something like a aftermarket Shell Cordovan, you'll find that the watch will have a bevy of options in the 20 millimeter size, but you will give up the integration of the conforming end profile Rolex bracelet. Now, the timepiece has a very comfortable 3-link Oyster bracelet that's matched well to the case. The 3-link Oyster sometimes appears a bit too brutal for some of the more traditionally shaped and profiled Rolex cases, but it's nicely matched with the Daytona. Now, this is the later clasp design. The watch has a V serial number, so 2009 roughly speaking, and after the late Z series, this clasp design, which features a more robust internal mechanism and a more complex closure, supplanted the earlier stamped internals. You'll note that the system is still blessed with the Rolex 5mm Easy Link tool-free adjustment system. It's the equivalent of adding or removing one full sizable link, and when closed, it is quite secure. You will note that the clasp features a flush-fitting clamshell that's flush on both the sides and the tops. Rolex overlooking no details in the design. You also note that because the Daytona is an upscale Rolex model, one of the flagship pieces, you have differential finish with polish down the center links, polish on the outer shoulders, and the flanking links in satin. Moving to the case, I guess we can give ourselves a little bit more light now and focus a bit closer. You can see that the important details of the Daytona have not changed, and the important details are the curvature of the case and the sensuous lugs. This is not the Rolex Super Case profile. This is something from a kinder, gentler time. It has an elegance to it that's more reminiscent of the Day-Date and the Datejust than GMT Explorer 2, Submariner, or Sea Dweller. You can see that the bezel is in outstanding condition. This metal bezel would have featured lacquer fill for the calibrations of the bezel, and so if there's any wear and tear, you see that in the form of missing lacquer, so there's nothing of the sort here. You'll note that inboard, the dial is gorgeous. It's a gloss black with applied white gold indices and white gold hands at center, as well as white gold hands for the sub-registers and an applied white gold Rolex 5-point coronet. The timepiece does feature screw-down crown and chronograph pushers, as well as a screwed-in Rolex Oyster caseback, the result being that although the Daytona is associated with land-based motorsports, it's equally appropriate for those who might be racing speedboats or simply enjoying a day at the beach. The timepiece features a Rolex manufactured caliber 4130. That was new for 2000, and it's known as the in-house generation of the Daytona, 2000 to present. What does it give you? Well, it gives you a lot. It gives you a 3-day power reserve, automatic winding, a 4 Hz beat rate. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. It features a full balance bridge with a free-sprung index for shock resistance, an overcoil hairspring for resistance to positional or gravitationally induced timing deviation. It features a parachrome blue alloy that is robustly anti-magnetic, and the watch is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, but Rolex goes one better. For all modern Rolex Rolex has always taken the COSC certified movement, put it in the case, and then timed it to make sure that as a fully cased up watch, it still meets the COSC chronometer standards. Now, there are other features built into the movement. For example, there is a vertical clutch system such that if you want to leave the watch running, for instance, you like to have your hours, minutes, and seconds at center rather than reading the subdial, just leave it running. Because of the vertical clutch, it creates no additional wear and tear on the system. The vertical clutch also allows for a seamless start and stop with no stagger or jump. A lateral clutch will produce a little bit of stagger or jump up to 2 seconds of additional elapsed time from the moment you press the pusher. This one is precise, again, because of the vertical clutch, but because of the column wheel, which cycles between the functions, that is, it activates and deactivates the vertical clutch, you have a crisp system that feels good, sounds good, and works well. Column wheels are more expensive and more traditional than cams, but for Rolex, they have been the only choice. You'll also note that the system, when screwed closed, pivoting on its 44 jewels, allows the Rolex to be very slim in profile. So all of the toughness and precision of the old El Primero with a longer power reserve and still greater resilience against shock, plus hacking or stop seconds. That is the Rolex 4130, and this is the discontinued Rolex Daytona steel with steel bezel. And we're back with the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona, the 116520. You can see it by the light of day on the watch box.